Who is Dr. Jerome Oziel? The Menendez brothers' therapist who got their confession and cracked the case. Jerome Oziel was Erik Menendez's licensed psychologist and the first to hear Erik confess to the murders of his parents. During an impromptu October 31 session in 1989, Erik talked about his nightmares about his parents and feeling depressed. He eventually admitted that he and his brother had killed them. Lyle and Erik met with Oziel together, according to the LA Times 1993 trial coverage, and confessed to the murders together, which Oziel recorded on tape. After this meeting, Oziel claimed he was of the firm belief that Erik and Lyle were going to murder him, per his trial testimony. Oziel testified that he left the session and called his wife Laurel to make sure she and their kids were out of the house. He then drove to Smith's house to tell her what happened. Oziel later surrendered his license to practice. He is still alive, but he no longer lives in California. Who is Judelon Smith? Judelon Smith was Oziel's former client and mistress at the time of Erik's confession. Oziel was having an affair with Smith, who claimed to be listening outside the door when the brothers admitted to the murders. Smith tipped off the police after Oziel ended their relationship. The psychologist cut things off with Smith 4 months after Erik had confessed to him. This led Smith to tell the authorities that she'd heard Erik say he and his brother killed their parents through Oziel's door and that the doctor had tapes of their discussion. She also claimed Oziel told her about Erik's confession. Oziel's house was searched for the tapes and the Menendez brothers were arrested in March of 1990. Smith is still alive, but she has remained out of the public eye since the trial ended. Did Oziel and Smith testify at the Menendez brothers' trials? Both Oziel and Smith testified during the Menendez trial. However, due to doctor-patient confidentiality, it took over 2 years for Oziel's tapes to be admitted as evidence in the trial. During the 1993 trial, Oziel testified that Lyle and Erik had threatened his life after Erik's Halloween session, which was cause for the tapes to finally be allowed as evidence. Erik's defense attorney, Leslie Abramson, attempted to discredit Oziel as a witness by arguing he kept inappropriate relationships with his clients. Smith's testimony during the 1993 proceedings discounted her original report. Despite telling a TV interviewer and the authorities the opposite, on the stand, the mistress admitted she never heard Erik nor Lyle confess, from their mouths, to killing their parents. In fact, she argued that Oziel had brainwashed her and caused her to develop post-traumatic stress disorder. She also said she should not be held responsible for faults or contradictions in her testimony because of this.